We've abandoned Akira. It's gone. It's in the rearview mirror. We got through 3 volumes, and I'm sure that at some point I will read the rest. But we weren't having the best time talking about it, and you can just blame our poor taste in manga for that, or our lack of knowledge. You can blame whatever you want. The point is, we're moving on to Nana. This is episode 1 of the Nanacast.
Yeah.
Recently, Mario and I conducted a big, long tournament that took us like the better part
10
of a
months.
year. Yeah.
Yep.
To figure out what was the best anime from the 2000s. And Nana ended up being the winner. So we went through like round by round and watched a bunch of
It,
episodes of a bunch of shows. Nana was the winner, defeating Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit, in the finals. And we got through 16 episodes, so we figured, well, why not watch the remaining 32 with the podcast as motivation, I guess,
mhm.
or however many are left, 31 maybe.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Before we start doing that, though, we're going to recap the 16 episodes that we have seen, just talk about them a little bit, talk about why it ended up being our favorite, or at least the winner of that event. We'll see how that goes. And next week, I guess we'll be back talking about 5 more episodes, 17 to 21. For now, though, it's recap time.
Yeah. Well, I would say that Nanas is a deserving winners out of the tournaments, the bracket that me and Whooper was doing. It it's like it just swept everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
It was always a 2-0 decision every single
yeah.
round that it was a part of. There was never like any debate about it, as there was with some other shows.
Yeah.
So it
That's
won
right.
clean.
Good sweep. That's right. Yep. And yeah, so what make Nana is more powerful and perhaps like the best animes according to Supers
Right.
here of the 2000s. I think it had to be the drama and the ways that the show draw out these people that that feel like a really complex and group of people to me.
Yeah, you don't. The female characters in the show are very vulnerable,
Mhm.
and you don't see that in anime very much.
Yep.
Of course, you see like in anime, you see a lot of vulnerable women. They're put in positions where they need to be rescued, or whatever. They're put in positions where they're like spied on by creepy people who want to see them in the shower, or it's just anime shit. Um, in Nana, the 2 main characters, and I mean most of the characters really, and the further we go watching it, the more characters that'll apply to. But
Mhm.
it's Nana K and Nana O, otherwise known as Hachi and Nana,
Mhm.
are the series begins with us getting their backstories. The first episode is their meeting on the train to Tokyo, but then
Yep.
after that, immediately we launch into flashbacks and we see like just how hurt the 2 of them have been by events in their past, whether it
Yep.
be an affair with a married man, which
Mhm.
Hachi has when she's still in high school, or whether it be the love of your life leaving to join another band when he was originally in yours, as is the case with Nana. Um,
Yep.
so that's we get a lot of detail about their lives. We get a good sense of their personalities. Nana being kind of like stoic and no nonsense, Hachi
Mhm.
being very fickle and flighty, very energetic and very optimistic.
Mhm.
Um, and it just comes through very like the direction always prioritizes their feelings, their thoughts about things. We hear their inner monologues all the time, especially Hachi's.
Mhm.
They talk very quickly, so we get a lot of dialogue per episode, which really
Mhm.
helps in fleshing the characters out. Like the speed at which they talk is actually kind of built into the presentation.
Mhm.
Um, it's almost manzai esque sometimes, like where you have a straight man and a goofball type of
Mhm.
character. The relationship between the 2 nanas is, I think, I would have to imagine, was inspired in part by that form of Japanese comedy.
Mhm.
It's just like right from the word go. Basically, it's very the show's very upfront about who these women are.
Yep. I agree with you most of the time, especially like right at the first episodes where the two women with the same name meet each other at the train station at the train inside the train. It's never let goes, and like we see like pack of their life beforehand, but like the moment that they join together, it just creates such a like just a unique energies that like it still keep me like hooked and we talk much about like Nana the series as a romance or as a drama, but I also say that the comedy the show done very well as well.
Yeah, the comedy is one of my favorite parts, and part of that is the direction of Morio Asaka.
Hmm.
He's very good at translating comedic scenes from manga to
Yep.
anime. Whether that be Chihaya Furu or Ore Monogatari. Cardcaptor Sakura, I'm less familiar with. I've seen like a dozen episodes of it, but that show's weird.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
the clampness of it all.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I don't have the best handle on it, but he is very good at like taking visual gags and breathing some life
Hmm.
into them. I remember a moment from episode 9 particularly where Nana like lifts up her leg and kicks Nobu, the guitarist for her
Yep.
band, in the head,
Yep.
and then you see his head twist and like
Yep.
saliva is coming out of his mouth. There's a boot print on his face.
Oh.
Just how swiftly she does that. There's almost no build up to it. It just
Yep.
happens. But like you've been conditioned to anticipate that it's going to happen because you know that Nana is that no nonsense sort of character, and you know that when she's drunk, she gets a little bit like she lets
Violent.
her emotions out a little bit more, but that often
Yep.
comes with like being critical of people
Yep. Yep.
or retaliating against them for something that she thinks is stupid. And
Yep.
Nobu is prone to that as kind of like the little brother of the band, at least before Shin joins. But
Yep.
yeah,
Well,
it is a very funny type of series. The way that she reacts to all of Hachi's like do you remember the moment when Hachi's like, "Oh no, I'm broke. I can't afford to pay rent."
yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
it zooms out and you see all the like the furniture and the clothes and things that she's bought in her
Hmm.
apartment. Just the
Yep.
the composition of that scene and the way the humor comes from the zoom out and Nana's like uncaring attitude towards Hachi's plight is
Yep.
it's just comedy gold. I I
Yep.
do like that even though it does get so heavy sometimes and so dramatic. There's always a rebound moment like that.
Yep. And I think most of what make it worse is, like you said, the direction of the directors, but also the very different personality between Nana and Hachi that like make it like they bounce off each other very well, and like it feels just right, two real people talking to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, the contrast is very important.
Yep.
Visually they're contrasted right away, like they have completely different styles.
Yep.
They're into different sorts of stuff. Like I remember a conversation early on in one of the episodes. I think it was when they were at the mall after they had agreed to be roommates, but
Yep.
hadn't actually moved all their stuff in yet. This was very early. Maybe as early as episode, like, let's say 7, because
Hmm.
episodes 2 through 5, that's all flashback.
Yep.
And then episode 6 is a recap. So episode 7, they're like doing what is it exactly they're doing? I think they're at a mall or some sort of shopping place, and
Yep.
they get onto the topic of music somehow. I think probably because Trap Nest, which is the band that Nana's former lover Ren is in,
Hmm.
there's an advertisement for them up at some store. So they get onto the topic of music, and
Yep.
Nana is like, she mentions that she's into no Hachi brings up Sex Pistols somehow. And Nana's like, "Oh
Mm.
my God, you love the Sex Pistols? Me too." And Hachi says, "No, I just saw the movie Sid and Nancy."
No, yep,
Um,
yep, yep.
and of course, immediately Nana is like disgusted, and she's like, "Oh, of course, yeah, people like you do exist. You don't know anything about the music. You only care about the image." Um,
Yep.
so there, I mean, in given like different circumstances, if they had met in a different context, they would probably be like mortal enemies. And in fact, there is some antagonism between the two. Um, as you get further into the episodes, I can't remember exactly where, but there's a
Uh,
moment where like Hachi criticizes Nana for um, what is it for? Oh,
yeah, well,
the girl who's like a super fan of Nana's band, Blast.
yep, yep, yep.
I can't remember her name. Doesn't it start with an M or something?
All right. I don't really remember this antagonism between them, but like more like a conflict.
Yeah,
Uh, they are not, like trying to compete with each others, and that's the one thing that I think I appreciate about their relationship.
yeah, that's true. I mean, they exist in different worlds. They're kind of in different lanes.
Yep, yep.
And they, I mean, one of the very early things that kind of puts a wall between their characters, I guess, so to speak, is the fact that they put
That's
locks on their doors. The
right.
like the kind elderly real estate agent is like, "Oh, you could split the rent, and if you want your privacy, you can put locks on the doors." Like they live their own separate lives. But the thing is, once Hachi like experiences
Hmm.
setbacks in her own life, like breaking up with
Hmm.
her boyfriend
Hmm.
and losing her job or quitting, I guess,
Yep,
she kind of like latches on to Nana.
yep.
And as a result, when she sees Nana expressing like a lot of affection for this other girl,
Misato.
yeah, Misato, thank you. It did start with an M.
Yep,
She like lashes out at Nana for that,
yep,
um, and
yep,
that's the quote unquote antagonism that I was talking about. But yeah, they don't become mortal enemies.
yep.
They're always going to be friends. They have kind of a fateful connection that
And
way.
yeah, and yeah, I really appreciate that the way that the show, like show us how they are different to the point that they have the different taste of men. I think they have mentioned some of that before, but where like the new band that Nana is into is the bands of sorry, of Hachi's into is the band of Nana's like previous boyfriend is in now,
Trap
and
nest, yeah,
Trapness, and it's Nana, his boyfriend, is the one that Hachi interested least. So
right.
he she would like tell enthusiastically about like all the other member, and then skip skip the man.
Skip Ren, yeah, she's more
uh,
interested in Takumi,
yep,
who
yep.
is the I guess the guitar player. I can't remember. I
Yeah,
think he's the
I
guitar
think it's
player, or
yep,
Ren is the bassist, something like that.
yep. And even Nana, when she talked to Hachi's boyfriend Suji, uh she also mentioned the fact that like he's not my type, and
I
like
I
just go over
vaguely
that.
remember that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
interesting.
when you thought it's like a flick of uh the fight between Nana and Hachi, I also appreciate the way that the two of them like handle the situation, because for Nana, uh Hachi lash out and say something that does hurt her, and what he did was he spent the whole night with like staying with Misato place, and like just go around uh to her friend house, to Yachi, to the drummers,
Yasu,
Yasu, sorry, to Yasu's, and like just quietly come back to her apartment. But Hachi, the moment that she saw Nana, she just like come straight to her and apologize, and like just uh like try to like try to make things is try to ease things again. So like they both have a different approach when it comes to assessing their emotions and conflict.
Yeah, two very different people for sure. So they're gonna handle things
Hmm.
differently.
Yep,
I
yep,
was
yep.
I was very
Love that.
interested in that scene between Nana and Yasu in episode 16. So this is the last one that we've seen thus far. Uh,
Hmm.
where I mean, Nana is clearly, she's hurt by what's happened between her and Hachi. She's pissed about it, so she goes to Yasu's apartment and like flirts with
Hmm.
him. Very very
Yep.
interesting scene, and the way that it's treated by the episode, and the way that
Mm.
that's carried forward through just that one episode is also uh, very intriguing. This is Nana is a series that is not going to shy away from like people having sex, hooking up,
Hmm.
which makes it very different from 99% of anime already. Like with
Oh,
the
so hold on. So it is in the same list with stuff like kisses and other hentai or ecchi animes.
no, I haven't seen. Is that what you call it? Kiss with sis, even though there's an X there.
Oh well, I always call that kisses, but
Oh,
it's more
okay,
like the X is silent. I think kisses.
yeah. I mean, Hunter x Hunter, you
Yep.
read without saying and or
Or
with or anything, so
or
maybe it's
Spy Family. Yep.
right. Um, yeah, Spy Family does have that X. That's weird, man. Spy Family feels like, even though it was only last year, it feels like forever ago.
All right.
I think too many
And
episodes of Trigun Stampede has like fried my brain.
oh wow, right.
Well, we'll talk about that next week or
Yep.
whenever we talk about it, because I don't know when this will be recording will be going up. But
Yep.
in any case, like the Hachi is introduced by way of like her backstory is about having an affair with a married man.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
can you imagine an anime any other anime doing that?
Well, I can imagine that, but I cannot imagine any show that deal with this like this mature like Nana. So yes, I get what you mean. Yes.
Well, I can't imagine any show doing it at all. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I'm sure there's been another anime where somebody like a character has had an affair with a married character, but in the shoujo realm, not really.
Yep. Yep.
But anyway, like the reason I got off on that big tangent in the first place was because the like when Nana goes to Yasu's apartment and like grabs his tie and plays around with it and jokingly says that they should sleep together just as a way of I don't know like venting her. I assume what's happening there really is she's venting her frustration with Hachi. Like her apartment, the apartment they share is not really a safe space in her
Hmm.
mind at that point. So she
Hmm.
leaves and wants to go be somewhere else. And like the flirting that she does with Yasu is kind of like she's making that apartment a place that is safe for her. Like she's trying to establish some sort of uh, like this is all real psychological, I guess, but she's trying to establish some sort of like belonging there or some sort of power there.
Hmm.
Um, and then later on at band practice, later in that same episode, there's a moment. This is after the two of them have reconciled, I believe, Nana and Hachi. Uh,
Hmm.
Hachi asks Yasu, "Do you feel the same about Ren having feelings for Nana?" Because she's had her talk with Misato at this point,
Hmm.
and she's like, "Oh my God, there's a love connection between Ren and Nana, even still." So she's like, she asks Yasu, "Hey, do you feel the same?"
Yep.
But what's interesting about that question is you could interpret it as being like, "Do you feel the same way about Nana that Ren
Yep.
does or that Ren did?"
Yep.
And Yasu like takes his time before answering. So it's really just like I really like the ambiguity there and the possibility
Yep.
it's being teased that
I
there might be something going on or might in the past, in the future, whatever, between
Yep.
Nana and Yasu.
Well, and I really love the fact that like at first, when Nachi didn't know about like the whole deal with Nanas and Brent, she thought that Nana and Yasu like having some some romantic
Right.
things going on.
Even when she first
And
meets him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and she keep referring to that, and we as the audience just like when we know about Nana's flashback, we just said like like this is just like she completely off the road, but it turned out that like there actually was some tension between or is some tension between Nana and Yasuo as well. So Hachi just on the right track with this one, and she could even sense it before any of us did.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the reason that she quote unquote sensed it is just because she is in love with the idea of like
Yep, yep, yep,
love, like people being in love. She wants to put people together in her mind, like play
yep.
matchmaker. Um,
See the romantic type. Yes.
yeah, she is a romantic type, but her love life is in shambles right now because
Yep.
Shoji has
We
cheated on
we
her
need to
with
talk about that.
Sachiko version
Yep.
2,
Yep.
the real one,
And
not the imaginary one that exists in Nana's mind, who was created independently of Shoji's encounter with his coworker.
yep, and I think that this is just make like one of why Nana have really sharp writing for me, because it actually like introduced the character Sachiko, and like the threat that she could bring even before the real Sachiko come in. And when her boyfriend see uh meet Sachiko and hear the name, we see like a sense of irony in there as well.
Yeah, it's just more humor. I
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
the
that's
manga,
true.
I said manga, but there not an episode goes by where there isn't something that'll make you laugh and kind of like
Yep,
admiringly, like, oh, that was pretty clever how they set that up, or
yep, yep, yep.
oh, there goes so and so acting like such and such again, like
That's right.
the
But
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was just about to say that I know that like Nana Hachi just coming to Tokyo just like on the whim, and Soichi just feel like he isn't equipped enough to take care of her, and like carrying it on with his life and his uni life. But I also didn't expect that like the romance between Sochi and Sachiko just like turned really quick like this. I think it just take like a couple of episodes before they having an affair, and Nana knowing the truth, and they broke up.
Right. Yeah. I mean this series just doesn't shy away from stuff like that, I guess. I
Yep.
mean, people do meet all the time, whether it be at work or, if they're in school, um, in class, whatever, and
Mhm.
they fall more in love with that person than they are with their current partner, and the fallout from that is can be pretty intense. I mean, this series, the Nana recognizes that,
Mhm.
not the
Mhm.
character, but the show
Yep.
recognizes that, and it wants to tell stories about that, and I think that's uh, like refreshing, I guess, because most shoujo anime are not about that. They're like about finding your first love and holding hands with them and maybe getting a kiss. So we're in an entire. This isn't just a different ballpark. Nana is playing an entirely different game. Like this, it's the sport is different.
Mhm.
Um, and not only does it not shy away from depicting like the ruining of relationships via affairs, but it also does not criticize characters who engage in that behavior too harshly. And
Yep.
it also has like the character of Junko, Hachi's best friend, uh, who gives her a talking to after the affair has been revealed and the relationship is over. Like you criticizing her for not putting in enough investment in the relationship herself, which is crazy. Not
Yep.
that I mean that sort of thing probably happens in real life all the time because the sort of people who get involved in these relationships have to be, realistic about them. They have to be frank about them. Um, so I'm sure that there are conversations like that between women, between men on a regular basis. But in an anime,
Yep.
You have somebody saying that yeah, you got cheated on, but you're not completely blameless in this situation either. Like
Yep.
that's crazy. That is you don't expect to hear that from a cartoon. Um,
Yep.
I was very interested to hear something like that come out of a character's mouth.
Yep. I completely agree with you on that, and I think both of us had also regarded, like the moment where her friends talked to Hachi about, like she not completely blameless about that is like one of what make Nana so special. So this is not about, like Nana. Hachi has a tendency to, like playing victims and, like being shrunken about, like uh, anything that happened to her. But the show is brave enough to point out that, like sometimes it's just an act of selfishness.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's you know, I'm sure that there are there's animation produced by other countries. Most likely, the most likely country to tackle these sorts of topics in animation would probably be America. Like
Mhm.
something produced for MTV, maybe um, that would handle this
Like,
sort of like what
yeah, like uh, Butthead.
Beavis and
Uh,
Butthead.
Beavis and
No, that's not
Butthead.
what I was
Some
referring to. I don't know, something
maybe
like
diarrhea.
Daria, maybe. I don't.
Yeah,
I only
yeah,
ever saw a handful of episodes of Daria. I don't know like how serious it
mhm.
got about relationship dynamics and stuff.
Yep,
But
yep, yep.
that's just for the fact that we've recorded over 150 episodes of this podcast talking about anime. That your brain kind of gets into anime mode. So anything that surprises you is like,
Yep.
whoa, this is a revelation. Really, I think what Nana is doing is pursuing the truth of what like living kind of recklessly and passionately as a young person, as a young woman, looks like.
Mhm. Yep,
Um,
yep.
because that's what both Nana and Hachi are doing. They're moving to Tokyo to pursue their dreams. For
And
Hachi,
let
it's impulsive. She's chasing after a guy, but that is her dream. As she says, I think in the very first episode, her dream is to become a housewife, to
yep,
find somebody to fall in love with, and to have children with them, and to make a life together with them. That is her
yep,
dream. And for Nana, of course, it's her band. For both
yep,
of them, the place that's most likely to happen is in Tokyo, and
yep.
that's why they're here. That's why they
Mhm.
go. Um, and they, it's kind of you could say that it's kind of reckless, but both of them know what they want,
Yep.
and they go to the place where it's most likely to happen, and they're going to get
It's
hurt along the way. I mean, because we see that they get hurt in the first handful of episodes, the flashbacks.
yep,
So we know that the series is headed in that direction.
yep. And what's coming next is Nana and Hachi decided to see the concerts of Nana's ex-boyfriend.
Trap
So
test.
Chapness
Yeah, there's a whole thing about Hachi
in
getting
Hachi
tickets from her
Hotel.
family, right?
Yeah, that's right. So that is something that to look forward to. And because we had seen a lot of Nana's side of like romance lately,
Y-
it's time to
You
move
mean
to
Hachi's side?
Hachi's. Ah, both of them named Nana
Yeah, the two
is a
main
good.
characters sharing the same name is a little tricky.
Yeah. So it's time I think to have a look at Nana's personal size.
Yeah, and we've already gotten a little bit of a hint in that direction with the whole thing with Yasu,
Yep.
and Hachi is now finally on the same page as the rest of us, knowing about her
Yep.
past with Ren. Not the
Yep.
details of it, but the fact that they had a romantic past together.
Yep.
Something that the series is not shy about doing is making Hachi look kind of like a fool because she doesn't have all the information that we have.
Yep.
So she'll say something silly that we know is silly, but it's only because she doesn't know what we know as audience members.
Yep.
So when she
That's true.
catches up and learns about Ren, she's like, "Whoa, this is incredible!" Now that she
Mhm.
knows what we know, it seems as though the show is, yeah, like you said, looking a little bit more towards Nana's side of the relationship
Yep.
spectrum.
Yep. And it's just funny the way that just yesterday I read some story about two people sharing the same flat as well. So it kind of like I good coincidence talking about Nana in today this episodes.
What story was that?
Sherlock Holmes.
Shell of Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Yes. Two people sharing the same apartment. That's true.
Yep.
I mean, Watson's got to live somewhere. Why not with your
Yeah, that's right.
coworker?
That's true. So,
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't cover from these 16 episodes.
but I think we can leave it for the next batch when we have the opportunities to talk about them.
Right. Yeah, the next 5 episodes we'll talk about soon. And I mean, in the process, we'll make reference to past events and all
Yep.
that. And it's gonna be great. I mean, hopefully this will be something we can consistently look forward to because seasonal anime doesn't always provide that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But Nana being the winner of our big best of the 2000s event
Yep.
means that we ought to be anticipating it, on a regular basis.
Yep.
So hopefully,
That's
what's
right.
coming up is juicy.
Maybe more drama, more romance, and more comedy to come.
Yeah, I mean, all three of those things I think are a certainty.
Yep.
And
More
I'm
tears to come.
yeah, probably that's a certainty too for me.
Okay. All right.
I guess we'll see
So,
you next week or whenever it is that the next Nanacast shows up on YouTube.
yep. All right. See you guys.